A good manager needs a variety of approaches to get the best out of his team. Sometimes you have to be firm.
Put that cookie down. Cookies are for closers.
Sometimes you have to set clear goals.
Stacy, read back the notes.
I can't read. What's it say?
And sometimes you need your cute face.
Hello and welcome to Watchin Stuff, the show about watching stuff. I'm Nero, with me is my Canadian host whyboy, and today we're looking at what could arguably be considered a sleeper.
A sleeper?
Well, like, you ever see a trailer for a flick?
Yes.
And, okay, well, you ever see like a trailer for a flick and you're like, man, that looks like garbage. But then you see the movie and you're like, man, that was pretty good.
You know, that was my whole top 5 best and worst movies of 2017 list about. I was just listing all the shitty trailers, basically, then all the good trailers. And
wasn't Rock Dog like one of your like anticipated movies of the year?
Like right alongside Leap. And Rock Dog turned out to be a real classic. And now we got Boss Baby, which was number 3 on my least anticipated movies list.
Was it? Oh, most anticipated?
Least anticipated.
Oh, okay, so this was one of the ones where you're like, oh man, this is going to be one of the pieces
of crap. Yeah, when I really anticipate this movie just from the trailers. Like, everyone's seen the trailers, right?
Yeah. But let's get into this. Boss Baby. For those of you who don't know, this is a DreamWorks film. It is actually being adapted. It's from a children's book of the same name. Actually, that's the thing I gotta bring up too. Love the fact that one of the major posters for this movie is the cover for the book, just done in CGI.
It is interesting.
That's pretty cool. I gotta say too, like I gotta give props to Marla Frazee. She's the author of the Boss Baby book. Her book came out in 2010. 7 years later, feature-length film. How cool is that?
That is really interesting. Now she can just slap on all of her books just based off the movie now. Or not based off. Like, it's made into a motion picture now.
You know, made into a feature animated film. Kudos. Yeah. I mean, like, in an era where Disney basically, they don't seem to like adapt with their animated division. They don't seem to adapt movies necessarily from books. They seem to more or less go for fairy tales, mostly fairy tales.
Fairy tales, poems, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so it's like it's really neat that we have somebody that's like, oh, what's a good book that we could adapt for a film, and that people might enjoy. Now, I'll level with you, Boss Baby is an interesting choice.
Yeah, very interesting choice.
I mean, the trailers, it looked dumb. Even the name sounds dumb.
So dumb. No one was thinking that this could have been anything. Just Alec Baldwin's The Boss Baby. Just from that name alone, it was just sounding like, oh, God, it's going to sound like all hip, all cool, and all that sort of stuff.
It felt like, again, like I told you this earlier, where I said, I swear to God, like the people who made this movie, the people at DreamWorks were like, let's, approve this idea. I swear to God, someone was just watching 30 Rock on like their Netflix, and they saw Alec Baldwin, and they were like,
we need that guy.
Well, it's business drunk. It's like rich drunk. Either way, it's legal to drive.
We need him.
It's gotta be a movie. It's gotta be a movie.
Yeah.
So Boss Baby, it's an interesting film because the plot is a little bit kind of all over the place, but also sort of linear. Yeah. It's very creative. It starts off that we have this boy named Timothy Templeton, which great use of the alliterative name, and he's an only child. He's with his mom and dad, and no, it's not like the Storks, where the parents neglected the fuck out of that
Let's
kid.
Make it a drinking game. Every time we mention Storks and Watchin Stuff, take a shot.
Oh Jesus, that's gonna probably be like the new standard. Storks are so fucking bad, but like it's cool because like Timothy is this little kid, and he's content. He's got a family who loves him, hardworking parents who work for, I advertisement firm, I believe is what they
an
said.
advertisement firm for Puppy Corp.
Yeah, for Puppy Co. Because that's a thing too. We'll get to that in a few minutes here. But like, the idea is that eventually this baby shows up, and this is where it starts to sound really fucking stupid. The idea is like this baby shows up, and this baby is on a mission because this baby works for a corporation of babies. God damn, like the more you say it out loud, the dumber it sounds. Who is in a secret war between babies and puppies.
You see, babies aren't getting as much love as we used to.
Why?
Behold our mortal enemy, puppies.
Aww.
No! That's exactly the problem. This is war.
Because the cuteness of puppies is taking away love from the babies. Now, I know what everyone is thinking right now. Everyone's thinking, oh, this is dumb. I'm just going to like close out of this video. Don't do it. We need the potential ad revenue.
Yeah, potential in quotes.
I'm tired of eating delicious, succulent rats for dinner. I don't have Boss Baby money. But like, yes, we know what you're thinking. That premise sounds really dumb, Nero and whyboy.
Yeah,
It does.
It does sound really dumb. But the one thing this movie has going for it, it actually has the imagination to make this idea very visually appealing. Which
It does.
Which you wouldn't be able to tell from the trailers, because like I said before, it's basically the 20 minutes of the movie just scrunched into the actual trailer.
It's not even like the trailers, like even the first act. It's just like someone took the first 20 minutes. And part of it was literally, they just took the montage scene, played it, and then slapped a logo at the end.
Yeah, it's just that uncreative of it. And actually, it's a detriment to the movie because they take out every single creative scene from the 20 minutes. And just, oh well, let's take all the uninteresting ones and place it out there. That will definitely entice people to watch it.
The best part about this movie has to be that it's established from the opening shot that Timmy has a very active imagination because he's a 7-year-old kid. So the way he's perceiving the world and everything, we see it from a 7-year-old child's imagination, but like, electrified. So everything is like hyperactive. And not in an annoying, like, loud bells and whistles way, but like, there's a part where he sneaks down the hall and he sees himself as a ninja, and then the animation changes to being using negative space. So like everything is black with highlights of red, and we get to see like the ninja silhouette. And that's like really cool. It's really, in a lot of ways, this is a very experimental DreamWorks film, which is cool because that's sort of what the studio is arguably best known for, is that it's very experimental in how they make their films. Like Shrek was such a different film than what we were used to when it came to terms of animation
And when
quality.
you go to How to Train Your Dragons, it mostly used like the 3D space in the most interesting way to make the dragons fly around. And in this,
or just like the annoying of 3D, because like that's still sadly a thing.
But in Boss,
this movie only did one scene.
well, one scene that was annoying
scene.
3D, and that was just some
Yeah,
spittle
it was.
going towards the screen. Yep, definitely that gross
Yeah,
out humor
that was-
really gets those kids chuckling in the scenes.
Yeah, I
But
don't know why so many people think that shit works.
because it does work for some kids. Like, we were all those stupid little kids that basically saying, like, fart joke, spittle joke. But basically, what this movie does well in the experimental side is basically with its animation. It definitely has the most, like, contrasting colors and such with the imagination scenes, and definitely with the overtop nature they do in the actual, I would say, ordinary world, I would say.
Yeah, and that's actually that's like the big thing I do want to bring up about this movie is it's established that a lot of the stuff that happens is because Timmy has a hyperactive imagination. And in the opening act, when we see the Boss Baby, I was perceiving it that was how Timothy viewed the Boss Baby arriving. Like, it was like a grumpy little CEO who bossed people around, who told them what to do, took all the attention. And I thought it was just from a 7-year-old's perspective, because now he's the firstborn child, yes, but he's also the eldest. He doesn't need as much attention as a baby would.
Yeah.
And then the movie just says, nah, there really is a baby with the voice of Alec Baldwin. That's a legit thing that just showed up one day. It's not in his imagination. And it just sort of hits you like,
Oh, that's weird.
Yes. This is a little weird. Yeah, I mean, you guys set it up in such a way where, like, I thought this was all just in Timmy's imagination, and that's why we're seeing it, because we're seeing it from a child's viewpoint. No.
Yeah.
It didn't even ruin the movie for me. It was just sort of a,
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah, the way I perceive that is
Look at
basically the 20 minutes of the movie is basically what the original book was about. It is sort of that thematic idea of a children's idea of when a baby comes in. The boss and the parents, making them stay up late, making them all go to the meetings, like food, changing the diapers and such like that. And in that sort of sense, I feel that makes this book adaptation really strong, because they got the adaptation out of the way as soon as possible, and now they have the rest of the movie to build on top of that.
Yeah, and that's where you get, like, all the really cool antics and stuff. Character-wise, this is not bad.
Yeah, it's actually very surprising. Like, from the trailers, we were just thinking, like, Timmy Templeton, just the dullest white bread kid, and then we just had the baby.
He was gonna be Nate from Storks.
Yeah, just Nate from... Oh my god, you actually remember his name?
I was rewatching our video of it, like, just to make sure how the editing went. Because I always take notes of myself as an editor to be like, oh shit, can I improve somewhere? And like I remember, like, the poster of him comes up and it's Nate. And I'm like, man, they even gave that kid a fucking white as hell name, like a boring, like a bland, mediocre ass name. Nate. Not that it's a bad name, like Nathaniel, great, but just Nate. I don't know. Like,
sorry to all those Nates out there.
Oh no, our subscriber count is gonna plummet.
We lose all the Nates.
That's where the real money's at. Make Nate great again. Make it happen, America. Nate 2017. But, like, yeah, no, like, Timmy he acts like a child. He acts like how you expect a child to be.
Yeah, a little bit bratty, definitely hyperactive enough to be a child, and a little bit self-centered. Like a 7-year-old child who just wants the attention, wants the fun of having his parents around. And being, like, in the spotlight. When the baby comes in, it's basically swept out under him, and he just has to grow up in a way.
Yeah, well, I like that because it's like a bit of maturity where, like, you know, you realize you're not the center of attention. Others are. You know, you have to move on. I have to say, Alec Baldwin, who's he's the star. Yeah. You know, he is the boss baby.
And that's his name, the boss baby.
Yeah, it's funny, again, and this was something like I brought up to, like, whyboy during the viewing. When we were sitting there, like, well, you know, when we ended up watching it and we were, like, reconciling our thoughts, I remember saying at some point, why do the parents just call it the baby?
Yeah, that...
Like, if it's their kid, don't you fucking name it?
Oh, I love you, baby!
Yeah, like, it's like, you know, where's the baby? Give it a fucking name, man. That's supposed to be your other son, for Christ's sake.
Oh, look, it's a girl, too. We'll name it Baby. And another one, Baby.
With an I.
Yeah, that was the one thing that you said that took you out of the movie. And I can agree with you. Maybe... Yeah, it's just
weird.
Thing.
Like, because the idea is that Boss Baby is supposed to, like, infiltrate the family. And it's like, yeah, but then shouldn't he have, like, a cover ID?
Yeah, some weird name.
It's not like a spy infiltrates an organization. It's just called Spy.
Hello, I'm Mr. Spy.
No, it's like
I'm here to steal your secrets. I mean, no.
No. But like Alec Baldwin, he delivers a good performance. You know, it is like how you see in the trailers. You know, he's dry, sarcastic, but it works. It works actually to a character. There is good humor in that.
Yeah, with Timmy and Boss Baby's sort of collaboration together, they actually really work off each other. With Timmy being the hyperactive one, who has the childish mentality, and Boss Baby in there being the actual adult of the two. It really creates a lot of good comedic timing with both of them, which I really admired.
I think so. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I was so ready to be like, from the trailers again, where it's like, fuck.
Like, no,
bad.
I cannot enjoy. Like, how could you possibly enjoy this from the trailer? But no, like the movie actually shows a lot of promise in it as it goes on, especially past the 20-minute mark, where it shows the more creative side of it, and actually allows itself to be a little bit over the top as well, to basically push this idea to the very limits.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
I feel like we should run.
I know, but it's just so mesmerizing.
I kind of want to see how it ends.
Yeah, me too. Well, that didn't end well.
The imagination angle. I like the idea that, the bad guy's plan is to like utilize. What do they call it?
Yeah,
Forever
puppies.
Puppies that will never age, and it's like they're all super cute, and it's like, oh, that's really fucked up and funny. I don't find too many of the performances stand out. Like Alec Baldwin, he's good. It's not that he doesn't stand out, but he's just better than the trailers expected it to be. The parent characters are honestly the worst fucking thing about
they're
this
sort
movie.
of like throwaway performances in a way, because they're just mainly just to be a plot device for what Timmy and the baby are sort of almost fighting over.
Like, they got Lisa Kudrow and Jimmy Kimmel to play the mom and the dad.
Oh, Lisa Kudrow, I loved her.
It's
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
what
know
else
she
was
was
she
from
in?
Friends, I believe. She was Phoebe.
Oh,
Yeah,
she was the dumb one?
I always loved Phoebe. She was great.
Oh, that's a shame, because like Phoebe had so much energy and character, even if she's the dumb one. But like her and Jimmy Kimmel, you just watching, you're just like,
Well, wait a minute, Jimmy Kimmel. That's what wow. He had no sort of like energy.
Jimmy
to him,
Kimmel's the dead. He's got no presence, which is weird because in the confines of the film, the dad character was clearly a bit more panicky than the mom character.
Yeah, the mom character was the one that was just basically holding the family together. Which we could see that there just needed to be a bit more to it. There were some funny jokes of the dad character being the panicky lesser man of the family. Like,
yeah, and like that was kind of funny because like the mother was more thought oriented, more on the ball, and the dad was a little bit more panicky. But like as a whole, though, the parents were just like they were like background dressing, and it's kind of weird because they're part of the central point of like the conflict. Their attention is being drawn away from Timothy and being put on the boss baby, and they feel so like inconsequential somehow.
yeah, but in a sense, that's sort of the byproduct of all the focus on Timmy and the boss baby as well, and that's why we like their relationship the most, because they did actually get stronger throughout the movie.
Yeah, I mean they still did the cliche film thing where there's an argument in the third act, so they split just so they have to reconcile. Like they did it in Shrek, they did it in Megamind. Pretty certain they did it in How to Train Your Dragon with the dad. I think the dad had a conflict with the son.
It's a little bit different here because like in Shrek it's just sort of like the liar revealed sort of thing. They were just like, oh, I heard it wrong, so I have to go away now.
I overheard something and didn't get it all the proper information that I actually needed. So, fuck it. No, and that's the thing I'll give this actually is that
it was more just like the words that Timothy used towards the boss baby actually personally hurt him, and it made him have to go away to think about it in a sense.
And I kind of like that though because it felt very real. Like, the thing with... I don't even remember in... Oh, no, I remember what it was in Megamind. He and Minion got into a fucking argument. Like, I like the fact that... Like, if you watch Shrek, it's just, I misheard something. And it's like, oh, for fuck Christ. This could be, like, easily, like, simply waved away with just, like, let me explain to you exactly what happened, and you just say what happens, as opposed to, like... Oh, well, they just didn't want to hear me out. Walk away sad into the distance.
Yeah, with the sad piano music behind
I like... Right? Whereas, like, with Boss Baby, what I like about it is that, Timothy's rushing to go get his mom and dad because they're being abducted by the big bad of the film. And because the big bad stole the Boss Baby's magic formula, again, we know how this sounds, because the Boss Baby doesn't have this magic formula that keeps him intelligent, I guess, stops him from reverting to, like, baby mentality, Timothy goes back and saves him, but because he went back to save the Boss Baby, he loses his mom and dad, and they get into an argument, and it's understandable. They're both very upset about the situation, and Timmy just blurts out, "I wish you were never born." And the thing is, I think we've all been there at some point.
Yeah, we get to the boiling point where we say something that's overly cruel, overly mean, but we don't actually mean it. It's just a way to vent our frustration. So this makes it a much more human sort of scenario, rather than just like, "Boss Baby, I just heard you say something about me. How could you say that?" "Oh, no, wait a minute, I didn't say that." Like, "No, I don't understand. Let me just put on the sad piano music."
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, I think this is one of the best ways, honestly, in terms of how do you do a movie that's with such a ridiculous concept, is if you put in real stuff to it, it makes it feel more real, even though everything about it is absurd. You know, there's a magical place of some sort where, like, babies are born, and some are, like, gifted geniuses that become, like, baby businessmen, and, you know, there's a magical formula they drink to save babies forever, and it's like, wow, this is ridiculous and weird. But then you have, like, the genuine moments, like Timmy bonding with the Boss Baby and stuff like that. You know, yes, they do the breakup, but it's resolved fairly quickly because, you know, the Boss Baby just goes, he thinks it over, and he comes back to him, and they talk about it.
Yeah, that's what I feel this really saves this movie. Above all the imagination, above all the over-the-topness, this movie does really well is the emotions of Timmy and the Boss Baby. We understand where the Boss Baby is coming from, as he's just basically the baby that was just forced into the business role. Because that's sort of how in this universe it goes. Whether you go to a family or you go into the baby corp role of everything. Where he was never allowed to be part of a family. While Timmy has just... he was the lucky one. He did get a family and he was the center of attention. So these sort of mentalities clash in the movie. And that sort of creates the emotions of it. The emotions of a character who is just trying to learn how to be part of a family. And the character who's just trying to understand how this person can think. And so how he can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically why I really like the movie in the end. It got the emotions down, so it can get the humor down as well, as the characters can work off each other based off the emotion. Yeah,
and I think that's a strength that is overlooked in other films. Like, I feel like it was overlooked in Megamind. I don't really know what it was about How to Train Your Dragon, where it didn't touch base with me in any way.
Yeah, I got it myself a little bit, but I can see where it comes from. Like, a lot of the side characters in that weren't just sort of like throwaway characters, just like sort of like the parents in this one.
Yeah, but like, there's so many fucking more though in fucking How to Train Your Dragon, because it's like there's Hiccup and the chick, and it's like, okay, so that's the love interest role. You know, what are the other ones? And it's like there's a fat one, and there are twins. It's like, fuck this noise.
But I did
and the butch one.
The father and the son did have a sort of connection where I feel that DreamWorks did put the emotions into it.
This was a cool flick. So, I mean, Alright, so to wrap it up, in your opinion, in terms of rating, what are you looking to give it? Because I think I might have changed a little bit during actually just talking about this.
Still a good watch. It's definitely not one of the top picks of the year, but it definitely surprised me enough to basically say, like, if you're in for just a fun, silly movie, then Boss Baby will be for you. It's definitely got the visuals for it, definitely got the emotion into it, and definitely got a really good assortment of humor that actually made us both laugh a lot in it. So, a good watch for me.
I'm going to go with you. I'm going to give it a good watch. I do think it is a pretty good film. It's not terrible. It's not as bad as I thought it would have been. I was so nervous about this one. Like, I remember, like, this looks so bad.
But yeah, I think we can both agree. It's a good watch, but I think it's definitely a must-see for any sort of animation fan if you want to be surprised in 2017 this year.
Yeah, like I think animation fans are gonna look at it, and just in terms of animation, like throwing in some different art styles for certain sequences, it gets really cool. I actually, if you remember the pirate scene, I just wish they'd make a movie in that art style.
Yeah, that looks
just
really
one.
Cool. It could be like a Peter Pan sort of movie in that style.
That would be cool to get like a nice animated Peter Pan. Like we had the Disney one back in the I want to say the 50s. I want to say the 50s, but I'm probably not right.
I think it was more 60s, but whatever.
It would be nice to see them do a film in that sort of art style. There was just something about it. It kind of reminded me sort of like what they did with the Peanuts movie. Like it kind of looks sort of like that. It's almost like, in a way, it almost feels almost like it's sort of painted.
Yeah, it is very interesting. In each sort of art style they showed, it had that sort of capabilities of being like an art style for a different sort of movie. The space one could be a sort of a Buzz Lightyear thing. The ninja one could be his own sort of Kung Fu Panda thing. And just each one actually had a sort of a spark of a different movie into it, which actually added a lot of flavor to it.
The only thing I'm not excited for, they're already talking about doing a sequel.
No.
What the fuck? What do you do? What do you follow up on? Like the baby quit Baby Corps, the boss baby who's now named Ted now lives with the family, and we saw that they grew up. So is it going to be from the little girl and her baby sister then?
Stop.
I'm not inherently against the idea, but I bet you there's nothing there that's going to warrant it being a sequel. And that's the thing about DreamWorks though. Ever since fucking Shrek, they're like, man, we need to get a real franchise movie going. Like, we just finished Kung Fu Panda, we finished Shrek, and then we're bringing it back because it's like Frankenstein's monster. We have to bring it back like a corpse.
Finish Kung Fu Panda, just like you stabbed it to death, and finish Shrek with Shrek 5, where they just basically are trying to reboot it again. From what?
It's a quasi reboot. Like the way I'm hearing it, both like it's kind of a reboot, but it's also it's a continuation. Who knows? I don't fucking care. I mean, I'm sure I'll see it, and we'll probably see it for the channel, but I don't fucking care
either. Ugh.
Yeah. So, thanks for watching, guys. This has been ToonGrin. I'm Nero, and that's whyboy. And remember,
to tune in.
Be sure to tune in.
Damn it, Nero! No!
God damn it!
No, we were so close.
Just finish it off.
To ToonGrin.
Man. Even Boss Baby had a better ending than this fucking video did.